For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Shannon. Ryhove. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss President Jacob Zuma and South Africa's future. Welcome.
Thank you.
President Jacob Zuma's removal from the presidency has been repeatedly forecast, yet he holds on. Do you think that there has been sufficient developments to change this?
You know, if this was the United Kingdom, he would have been out of office and many other ministers would have resigned. And I think we've got a political culture in South Africa where no matter what you do, no matter what you're alleged, you don't seem to resign. In South Africa, you fight on, and there's some people who will want you to stay on. And I think it's quite important to unpack why Zuma could go tomorrow, why he could stay till when the next election of 2017. 19.
Yeah.
The way I see it is that Zuma's future is tied to a number of relationships of patronage and probably corruption as well, where some people benefit from him being there. But they only benefit insofar as the whole thing will not blow up. If, for example, Zuma were to be charged with the corruption charges and some of them may be implicated, it may be beneficial for them to get rid of him to avoid that happening. If they feel that getting rid of him will safeguard the nest that they've built for themselves, then they get rid of him. But it may well be that they have to sink and swim with him. But, you know, there's another factor. Zuma comes from an intelligence background. And intelligence people specialize in storing up information about other people. You saw this when Moshaik and Maharaj, I don't think is intelligence, but they had information, or they alleged to have information about Bulelani Xuka, and they brought it out at a particular time. And it may well be that if Zuma were to go down, he would want to bring others down with him. And he would release information, just as they have had information about him, and possibly their releasing it could help him go down, but he may decide to bring others down with him. So there's a lot of these factors. It's very murky because we have not, in my understanding of the ANC, the Communist Party, COSATU, not had a situation like this before, where it's a bit like mafia type situation where it's a murky world. You know, the previous police commissioner was attached to Aliotti the same time as he was the head of Interpol. So, you know, you have all sorts of things happening. You know, an office which is held in trust is just abused, and we can do nothing about it, apparently, as citizens. So I don't know how politics will pan out. It may well be that he will have to resign, but it could create incredible turmoil.
What is the possibility of the legal process deciding the matter, whether or not politicians want to keep or get rid of Zuma?
You see, the thing about the law, what we are seeing with the public protector is she has made a report, and she, as far as I understand the law, does not have the capacity to implement her findings. So she reports to Parliament in good faith, as she did with the former Communications Minister Dina Pule, and I think over Becky Cele and other cases. And Parliament and the President decide to act or not to act. And in this case, it appears that they are not considering her report in good faith, and there's very little that can be done to ensure this. And in my view, this is another case where the power of citizens is important. I ended my article by saying, what do we want as citizens? What do we do as citizens? And it seems to me that it's very important that we don't see the only way of dealing with things as bringing very expensive court cases. It seems that to get the spy tapes released cost about 10 million. And if the costs were awarded against Zuma, which I think they were, that's taxpayers' money. Now, for ordinary taxpayers to raise that is expensive, but what we need to do is build some sort of civic power which can be brought to bear to ensure that legality is carried out. Now, it may be that the spy tapes will lead to reinstitution of charges against Zuma. My personal view had been that one could have brought an action for review without getting the spy tapes. One could have taken the reasoning of Mche, as Wim Trengove and Billy Downer, who had been part of prosecution, had done, and argued that that reasoning was not valid, and that the fact that there had been some attempt to interfere the timing of with the timing of the prosecution did not mean that the case itself had been affected. So even without the spy tapes, I think there would be a case. But Helen Zille claims that there is information on the spy tape that makes a strong case. But she makes a very important point, and that is, if the timing which related to the Polokwane conference was relevant then, it's not a material factor in 2014. And I think that's a very interesting point. So it may well be that the case can be reinstituted. I don't know what the spy tapes have. You know, there's a lot of things there. Just the fact of how they got the spy tape, whether they had the right to do the recordings, and whether they had the right to give them to Zuma's team. Trengove already some years ago said that there was a crime that had been committed there and no one was held responsible.
What is at stake for us as citizens?
See, for us as citizens, we have won a constitutional democracy in 1994, and it's very important for us to consolidate that democracy. And it's all very well having a range of institutions which seek to guarantee certain rights and accountability, but when the executive sets about undermining them at the level of the prosecution, at the level of appointment of judges, at the level of Parliament not carrying out its oath of office, seems to me that the time has come for us to go beyond voting periodically every 5 years and wield our power. And when I say wield our power, it's not exactly the same as the UDF period, when you had grassroots organizations, street committees, things like that. The people who are affected, who we should try to bring together, should range from the poorest of the poor to sections of capital who are willing to do this, because uncertainty is a problem for the economy. And the corruption that is not being attended to, the enrichment of Nkandla that is being not being attended to insofar as they don't implement the report or attend to the report of the public protector, all of this makes a bad climate for business. So my view is we need to try to join together people who have not been previously joined, and I think I'm going to be writing about that this week. Thank you.
We look forward to that one. Thank you very
Thanks.
much. That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about the future of President Jacob Zuma and South Africa.